but I also think that she never talked about my dad in a negative light. Like she would have those moments where he pisses her off and she like spazzes the fuck out and I could hear her, but she was never just like, you know, like own him. You're going to see what you're supposed to see through your own experience. I don't need to tell you.
Right.
He held out a long time, you know, because Aquarius they like to think that they is as stubborn as us. But I was willing to take it the long way. Like I just didn't. It wasn't even a thought in my mind. I just was like, you know what? No.
Were you just wanting him to take accountability for?
I tested him. I tested him. Little Scorpio moon of me. I just got my refund check and I had like $6,000 in my bank account. And I was like, let me text my dad and ask him for $100 and see what he says. And it was the same stuff he always says. Oh, I don't have it. Oh, whatever. But I also now understand in hindsight that his parents made him do half of everything.
Yeah.
You know, and so that's his conditioning. You know, it's
like
not,
pay for.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like they would never just give him anything because they were trying to teach him responsibility.
Oh, gotcha.
Even though they had money.
Yeah.
You know, they would never just give him anything.
Yeah.
And so he tried to instill that into us. But I think that he would choose the worst possible moments to do that. Yeah. It's like, no, I actually need help. And he's like, oh,
this
I just knew you were going to.
Moment.
Yeah. And he did that recently and was like, oh, yeah, I knew you were going to figure it out. So I was just, and I'm like, sir, I would never ask you for anything. Like literally, if I'm asking you, I am on my last leg. I'm about to die. Like send the troops, send the helicopter, you know, like fuck the ambulance, send the helicopter, you know what I'm saying? But you know, it just kind of is what it is. I've just kind of accepted it for what it was, but I asked him for $100 and he was like, no, I don't have it. And I just used that as justification to like
I knew it.
Fire breathing dragon on his ass. So I just anything I ever wanted to say in my life to him and just came out in that moment. And I also was inebriated, was drinking with my friends and the guy that I was dating at the time, and so it was just like I felt vindicated. So I'm not gonna lie, I like chaos a little bit, you know, like I think that both are necessary, and sometimes if I have to be an agent of chaos, I know exactly how to do it because I watched my mama do it. You know, it still causes transformation. It's just not, you don't feel too good about it after you do it, you know, but it still causes transformation. And I think we needed to have that moment. We recently had a different moment as adults, and I like I just couldn't stay on the phone with him. I was just like, every time I'm on the phone with him, I'm trying to find a way off the phone with him. And I think he was kind of going through his own stuff too. And I think that energy was bleeding into me, and it's just like, I couldn't do it anymore. And I felt like what helps him to sleep at night is for it to be my mom's fault. And, I didn't figure out until we had a conversation why that was. And his experience is valid. I understand why he reacted the way that he did. Yeah. Because that was not either one of their faults. Yeah. However, it just was, he was moving off a belief system that was not true. And because of that not being true, we suffered because of that. Yeah. You know, and so it's abuse again, my mom's abuse.
And it's like without blaming, it still is what it is. And you just still made the choices that you made.
Yeah. And it's like,
me in this way.
Yeah, exactly. And so, I actually found, like, it took me 3 months. I just couldn't stay on the phone with him. And I was like, hey, Dad, I just need a second. And I wasn't ignoring him. He called me multiple times, but I just texted him back and was like, hey, Dad, I'm still not there. Still not there. I'm getting there. But I gave myself the space to figure out what was going on inside of my body. And, when I got there, I called him.
What was that process like for you? Did you like meditate?
Yeah, I was meditating a lot. I was meditating. I was fasting. I was like, please just give me the answer. And Spirit was like, no, nope. Nope. You gotta wait this one out. You actually gotta sit with this one. This one's kind of big. Okay. You know, and so it's kind of unfolded in pieces over those 3 months. Yeah. But the day that I seen it, it was like, oh, okay, I need to call my dad. Now I get what the issue is. Wow. And so I called him and we had a 3-hour conversation. And I was surprised that how clear I was and what was being said, and also me being able to redirect things. And I also said it in such a compassionate way because I understood his side of things too, you know, because it's not just one experience, you know. And I think I revealed to him some things that I had not spoke about ever. Yeah. And he realized that day that the experience that I was having was between us. It was not, my mom wasn't in those moments, you know? And so he held himself accountable that day. And then the next time I talked to him, he said I needed to hold myself accountable because I was remembering it wrong. And so I had to decide whether or not I wanted him in my life. And I chose that I did want him in my life because my dad's not all bad. I realized that his defense mechanism that he developed in class, actually, hold on. I did not realize it immediately. Mm-hmm. But Spirit kept telling me to take a hypnosis class. And I was like, no, I'm not going to take a hypnosis class. Why do I need to take a hypnosis class? I don't need to hypnotize people to see what the hell is going on. You know, I'm a medium. And so I'm like, they were on me about taking this freaking hypnosis class. And so I buy the class, but I do not open it. During this time while I'm in this period of like right after me and my dad just had the conversation, before he got a chance to have that I'm the one who needs to hold myself accountable because that happened probably like 2 or 3 weeks later. In that interim, in that threshold, I turned this class on finally after having it for like, I would probably say like 3 to 4 weeks. I'm like, okay, Tajj, you have to do this. This is in the middle of the night, like 12 a.m. Okay. And so I turned this class on and I only watched probably like the first 30 minutes of it, but they started to talk about our critical factor. And the critical factor is what you have to get over from childhood because it's like your defense mechanism, you know? And so he explained all the defense mechanisms. And when he got to my dad's defense mechanism, I see that in my brother too. And so I was like, wait a second. And so your critical factor is important because it's the identity you developed to keep yourself safe as a kid. And so when I come to you, and your critical factor comes out because it's what comes out when you feel like you need to defend yourself against someone, right? There's no getting through to that person when that critical factor is there because it's like your inner child. It is life or death. Yeah, it is life or death for the person. Okay. Right. And so when my dad called me and he said I need to hold myself accountable, I just had that experience with the hypnosis class. I hadn't even fully finished the hypnosis class. But then my dad came to me and was like, you're the one who needs to hold yourself accountable. You're misremembering it, whatever. I said, oh, his critical factor. And so it stopped me from reacting because I was like, oh, that's what he needs to tell himself in order for him to feel safe because he does not feel safe in this experience. So he needs to like project the accountability. Yeah. Denial is what his critical factor is. Okay. It's denial. And denial can feel like lying. And so my whole life I would think that my dad was a liar. But no, he just denies that Does he believe the same thing the same lie he's telling you? Yeah, he believes it. Okay, that's what because he has to believe it. You know, I think I know a lot of people whose critical factor is denial. They just deny that it happened altogether. Yeah, you know, or like weaponized incompetence. Like I've come across many of men. The men that I've dated have just been my father. I didn't know that until I had this moment, and so I just let him have it. You know, and then like we didn't talk for a while. And the next time I talked to him, he was like, oh yeah, because we're estranged. And I'm like, we're not estranged. Who the hell said we were estranged? And I think you're like, I give you an option to take accountability. Yeah. And it's like, you took it at first, but then you reneged on it. Fine. But it was just like, I am comfortable with it just being, you know how I feel from my perspective. You know what my truth is. Period. Yeah. The reason why I chose to stay in community with my dad is because he was working on the relationship, our actual relationship. He's trying. Yeah. You know, and I think sometimes it's hard to let that go. It's hard to be accountable. People talk about accountability like it's such an easy thing. It's not, because it requires you to look at you and see that you've played a part. Yeah. And I think that shatters the identity that you're holding on to. It shatters everything that you think you know about yourself, and it sends you right into an ego death. Yeah. You know, and ego deaths are not fucking easy if you had it. And so I have compassion for him because I see the little boy. I seen the little boy come to the front. Yeah. And then I would probably say about maybe 5 months later, we were having a conversation, and he was going to therapy. And I was like, wow, you're in therapy? And he was like, yeah. And I'm starting to realize that it's okay for you to have your own experience. And so I was just like, oh. And so it was very layered. It was a very layered situation between me and my dad. Wow. But I actually was proud of him, you know, for even bringing it back up, because I was never going to talk about it again. I said my piece. You know how I feel. You know, when it's time for me to set a boundary will be set. Yeah. But the boundary that I put in between us was just, let's not talk about childhood because we're not going to agree on that. That's okay. You have your truth. I have my truth. I'm not trying to infringe upon your truth. You don't try to infringe upon my truth. So let's just not talk about that. Let's focus on our relationship.
And you've spoken your truth and you're good.
Yeah. And it's just like, let's focus on our relationship moving forward. Because my dad is fun and he's exuberant. And he was the one who was emotionally available for me. Oh. And so it was hard for me. This situation why it took me 3 months is because my dad was like my safe space a little bit when I was a kid. It's like he took an interest in me as a person, and he cared if I was happy, and he would try to like teach me how to swim. And I will say that was off the back of my mother. Let me say that. Yeah. Because I think he got to be the fun parent because she was too busy trying to be the dad. Everybody forgot we needed a mom, but that's okay. No, that's okay. We made it through there. And so yeah, but my dad was like, he was goofy and he was fun and he liked to play and like he made jokes